Welcome to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling. You are about to discover impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you, so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Be sure you visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now tune in, get ready, and enjoy the journey of emerging as a leader of exception in the 21st century.
Welcome everyone to the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Vicki Noethling, coming to you from Roswell, Georgia. The goal of this podcast is to share topics and guests that will empower you to grow your business and take it to the next level. Today, I am so pleased to have on my show, Lane Kennedy. And let me tell you about Lane. Lane is today's no-nonsense, modern-day calm maker. God, we need that. Not your ordinary meditation and mindfulness teacher. She is also a holistic practitioner, DNA nerd, and host of the Connected Calm Life and You're Sober, Now What podcast. She has been a meditator for over 2 decades and teaches publicly and privately for government agencies, corporations, and for those seeking recovery in San Francisco and abroad. Her main focus is sharing how to create a calm life and do it without drinking or anything else. I chose the theme for today to be get rid of I'm not good enough thinking. Please join me in speaking with Lane Kennedy. Lane, such a good topic.
Oh, Vicki, good to be here.
So good. We could have probably done this every week for the last 2.5 years.
I know COVID just tore us apart, really.
Yeah.
Like inside and out.
Tough time.
Very tough time.
Going to be a lot of good stories for our youth and those beyond. But we always start out with the easy question. Please tell everybody where you call home. Where do you live?
I'm in San Francisco, California.
Yes. Love San Francisco. What is the one thing that needs to be changed in every household today?
Everybody needs to find a practice. Everybody needs to find a practice. And when I talk about practice, I'm talking about changing their mindset and changing and finding that calm place. Yeah. And if you don't have a practice, then you can't get to that calm place. You know, we live in a world where the human has not evolved to where we are technology wise. So we are burnt out, overwhelmed, stressed out, not sleeping. So everybody needs a practice.
Yeah. And we're not just talking to the women in my audience. We're talking to everyone.
Everybody.
You know, even the school kids are, same way. What is the one thing that needs to change in you today? What are you looking to change?
Yeah. So I constantly seek to expand my consciousness, my awareness. You know, I'm at that next stage in my life where, the bones are starting to ache, my health is changing. And so what I'm really, really tuning into right now is, I work with a lot of people around their genetics and their genetic profile and their DNA. So I'm really paying attention to my own DNA right now.
Right. That's self-discovery is a very important thing.
Yeah.
Trust me, for somebody who's over 60, trust me. Why don't women or people stick to new habits?
Laziness. It's pure laziness. Really. If we look at the brain and how the brain has these neural pathways where let me back up. Let me go backwards for a minute. So we have this incredibly, quick thinking prefrontal cortex. It's like going all the time. And we get into these patterns. And, the brain likes to conserve energy, right? So you think about if you're going to the store, you know how to get to the store. It just
Right.
takes you there,
Yeah.
right? You know how to brush your teeth. It's automatic. It's less thinking, right? So we're habitual creatures. So it's hard to implement a new habit or to break a habit
Yeah.
because you're asking the brain to either take a new path or to eliminate a path,
Right.
which it doesn't want to do.
Learn or unlearn. And I think too, it is also recognizing that it's a habit is
Yes.
sometimes a stopping block there too.
People don't want to admit to their habits
Mm-hmm.
because then that could be shameful. That could be like getting involved with their pride. That could wreck families, change relationships. When we think about habits, I mean, a relationship could be a habit.
Yeah.
A relationship with your phone, a relationship with food, a
Yeah.
relationship with overworking. So I have to work, right? Like the thinking around that is like, oh, I have to
Right.
work. I have to earn a paycheck. I have to earn money. But that relationship is doing a little bit of damage.
So we have an answer to maybe how to do this. Why is it that people still think when we meditate, it's not, why do people have a stigma about meditation? I guess is really what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, right. Well, I think people reflect on, what it looks like,
Yeah.
right? There's like, look at the 60s, the generation of the 60s,
Yeah,
right? The 60s.
that's-
Like, let's go back in time for a minute. Again, it's like, the guys chanting at the airports,
Yeah, yeah.
like people were like, what is that? No, I don't want to have that, right? I'm trying to be different. I'm trying to, earn a lot of money, take care of my family and do X, Y, Z. I go to church and things are good, right? And so there's this painted picture of what meditation is from our past.
Right.
And I think that's where I come into play.
No.
So my perspective on meditation and why I'm not the ordinary teacher, and I say this to my classes, is that my students or clients will come into a class and they'll think, oh, we're going to sit here and we're going to put our fingers together and we're going to breathe and nam yo, whatever. And that's not meditation to me. I mean, that's a form, that's a type of practice.
Right.
And why I get so uppity about this is meditation can be simply looking out your window and looking at the trees, right? It's changing that perception. It's like putting those old ideas to bed, right? We're not sitting in a circle and saying kumbaya. No. And I think one of the greatest things about COVID was that pre-COVID, there were not a lot of meditation and mindfulness teachers. Okay.
Right,
Just
right.
going to say that for the record. I was very fortunate because I was a meditation and mindfulness teacher pre-COVID. And it was wonderful, right? Because I would meet clients and go to companies, and that meant they really understood that there was scientific evidence to show what this practice was doing.
Right.
COVID came into play. And then now everybody's a meditation teacher, right? So the yoga teacher is now a meditation teacher. The health coach is now a meditation teacher. There's all these meditation teachers, which is great because we need a lot of people meditating.
Yeah.
But it also brought this awareness of the scientific, the research of what's actually happening in our brain. And, what's happening to that prefrontal cortex that I was talking about earlier with habits.
Right.
Right? We're quieting that down when we go into meditation. And when we do that, we can make different decisions. We can react differently. So I'm thrilled that there's a lot of teachers out there, but sometimes I think, well, I don't know. I get a little judgmental, Vicki, I got to tell you.
You just have to do it.
Yeah, you just have to do it. You just
You
have to
just
do
have
it.
to do it.
Yeah.
And I think, one of the things that keeps us going back to the earlier question about the habits is the shiny object. We start doing it, and then somebody else tells you about something that they did.
Yeah.
And so then you stop doing what you were doing, but before you had time to create a habit.
Right. Right. And that's why I am so adamant about finding the practice that works for the individual
Yeah.
and be open to change. So, there's MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction, which is a fantastic practice. It's scientifically driven. It's, again, wonderful. But some people, it doesn't work for everybody. After 8 weeks, somebody comes into a class and they're like still antsy and fidgety, and they say, Lane, why am I still like this? Because that practice doesn't work for them. Like, it doesn't work for them, right? So for them, it's like, well, let's look at breathing.
Yeah.
Let's just start with your breath. Like that's, so it's really great to work with the teacher, because a lot of people, we have all these apps now. There's Calm, there's Headspace, there's Aura, in all kinds of apps, and people go in there and they start meditating on themselves, and then they get frustrated because it's not working. And then they go through and they're like, this practice, I don't like it. This practice, I don't like it. Right. So it becomes this kind of hassle or drag, or it's not working for me.
Yeah. You have to see some win, some change.
Yeah.
Which is a great segue to the next question, which is, why are women less likely to meditate?
Yeah. I just go back to the overwhelm in today's world.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many things that we are doing now. Women in society. It's like we are doing everything, right? It starts with like cleaning and cooking and paying bills and walking dogs and taking care of children and working and running errands and groceries, dry cleaning. Like the laundry list that we have today is tenfold of what it used to be.
Yeah. And then there's still the guilt factor that, oh, well, I can't do that because I have all these other things I have to take care of. Yeah. And so you get off the list of things that need taken care of.
Yeah. Women put themselves, I'll do it later is a big common theme. I'll do that later. I'll get to that tomorrow. Instead of just even 3 minutes, and I work with the San Francisco Police Department, and I police officers, they're on duty.
Yeah.
And I'll tell them, I say, you have time. And they're like, no, we don't, Lane. I'm like, yes, you do. Because you go to the bathroom. Everybody goes to the bathroom, and everybody can sit there for an extra minute or two. And then they laugh, but then I'll see them again.
Yeah, but breathing also helps that process.
Yes, right? But again, it's just this kind of, nobody has been taught to take an extra minute. Nobody has been taught how to breathe properly. That's why I love my job so much. And that's why I'm a complete evangelist about meditation and mindfulness, is that if everybody was doing this practice, the world would be a different place.
And if you think about it, especially with the moms that might be listening, and just what she just said, nobody teaches that. Well, if you as the mom incorporate this time with your kids, now you're killing two birds with one stone, if you will, because now you are doing what you need to do for you, but you are also doing it for your kids. They're learning a skill that you had to wait till you were 30, 40, 50 years old to learn. Yeah. So how much better the world would be.
So much better. And we really need to do that. We really, like, I have a 12-year-old, and I started meditating when he was 6 with him. And I can watch him get heated debate with my husband
Mm-hmm.
or something's happening and he'll pause and take a breath.
Yeah.
And I'll just be, yes,
Mm-hmm.
he's winning right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's changing his brain. It's changing the way that he's going to respond and be reactive, right?
And if you go back to what I do, helping people be better speakers,
Yes.
having that ability to take that breath
Yes.
or to calm themselves before they respond,
Mm-hmm.
and allow themselves the time to listen to somebody. All of those things
Mm-hmm.
make you a better speaker, make you a better trainer, coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For people who are getting ready to go speak at a board meeting or in a business meeting or up on a stage, right? I always, say, just pause an extra 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You're going to be okay.
Yep.
The people, whoever you're going to talk with, they don't even know it.
Yeah.
Right? They don't understand what 30 seconds is, but your body and your brain knows what that 30 seconds
For
is.
sure. For
Yeah.
sure. So why do we obsess so much about ourselves? That's an interesting question.
We are so self-centered. And it's just gotten more intense, right? Over the past couple of years with COVID, with not having that connection with people.
Right.
Right. And when we're working in an office, right, we can bounce off of people at the water cooler, or go have lunch, and then you're bumping into the barista or the waiter, right? So you're not inward thinking, you're outward thinking, right? So during these past 2 years, we've become very isolated and inward thinking. This kind of self-obsessive looping is what I call it. And so it starts with, oh, I'm really tired today.
Yeah.
Oh, and then it becomes, oh, I don't know if I got that paper right. And then, oh, I forgot that email. And then, it's I. And so when I direct people to start thinking about them, we, right? I use different pronouns, like proper nouns. It's you. How can we change that inner dialogue so you're not constantly thinking of I?
Yeah.
Because that, when we're in the I, it is just dangerous ground.
Yeah. That's why I love to volunteer, because it really takes your focus off of you, your problems, your life, and allows you to focus on somebody else's. And it's such a great release. I always say I get so much more from volunteering than I probably give.
Oh yeah. It's a number one thing. It's a number one mark. Like that's a must.
Yeah. So we discussed the fact that we need to create that habit. We discussed the fact that a lot of people have excuses for not.
Yeah.
One of them was that you mentioned was about not having time. So how much time should we devote to meditating?
I love 20 minutes. Doesn't mean that you're going to sit there and kumbaya it out. No, no. I think 20 minutes is a good amount of time to contemplate, to reflect, to listen to the birds, to walk around your block or your neighborhood for 20 minutes, right? 20 minutes, 1/3 of an hour. Everybody has that.
Yeah.
And again, it just goes back to the perception of how you value your time and how you want to live your life.
Yeah.
And so many people say, I just don't have the time, Lane. But what ends up happening, and what I see this with my students, my clients, I see this every day, is that when you take that 1/3 of 1 hour out of 24 hours, your whole life begins to change. You suddenly have more time because you have more clarity.
Yeah.
You're able to focus more. It's like your return on investment, right? We're talking business language, like goes up exponentially.
Yeah. Right.
with just 20 minutes. And so I like to start like a day like that. If you can't start your day with 20 minutes, lunchtime.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get to that 20-minute mark, do it twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're just like, Lane, that is just not going to happen. People, I have clients that say this, and I say, okay, let's just start with 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You have to start somewhere.
Right, right.
You have to start tasting it. There was a new ice cream. There's a great San Francisco is crazy about their ice cream.
Mm.
And there was they're like gourmet ice cream makers. And there was a new flavor out with black sesame. And black sesame and caramel. Right. And so so I'm going to bring in the meditation and the mindfulness and this 5 minutes idea, right? So I just wanted to taste it, right? I just wanted to taste it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so good that I had to go back the next weekend and get it again, right?
Yeah.
So it's that 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
For the experience of it, right?
Right. And then you go back and do it again. Yeah.
So, one of the things that I used to do, and probably still do, whenever I have something that's bothering me or an issue, I actually do mindless cleaning. Stuff that I don't have to think about doing, pushing a broom or a vacuum or dusting or something, which, I'm killing that task, or I'm doing that task, but my mind is open to just problem solve and think and get that clarity. And so, maybe that's the way to start. I don't know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, we're just taking that prefrontal cortex, getting into the posterior cingulate. We're just going offline.
Yeah.
Yet you're doing a repetitive task.
Mm-hmm.
This doesn't have to think anymore.
No.
Right. So it's open.
Mm-hmm.
Open. When COVID hit, I was cleaning the house every day.
Yeah.
I got tennis elbow.
I didn't do that, but I know. I mean, you had to do something. I actually added some of those apps, for in the morning, just so I would get into that habit of starting my morning with clearing my thoughts and calming down. And it was like for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Before I got out of bed, I just grabbed my phone, turned it on, and just for 3 minutes. And then after that, then I got into a longer habit of different things on my own meditating. But it is, as you said, you have to start that habit.
And you started, and it's probably changed since then.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
right?
Absolutely has.
And do you feel like you've reached more benefits or gained more benefits as a result?
Absolutely. You start your day so much better with a better mindset. You don't go in the day dreading the fact that you drug yourself out of bed,
Right.
So in speaking about that, we gave some tips, but is there any easy way to meditate?
I love the practice called Yoga Nidra.
Nidra.
Mm-hmm. It's a very dreamy practice.
Mm-hmm.
You do not have to sit. You lay down in your bed.
Oh, nice.
Lay down on the couch. See, everybody likes this.
Up for that.
My students love, this is why students come back to me, is that you go to a different place.
Yeah.
You explore a different dimension of your being, your essence through this practice. So I'm a huge fan of Yoga Nidra.
Yoga Nidra.
Yeah.
What is the quickest way that we can stop having obsessive thoughts?
Calling somebody, being of service, getting out of the self, right? Because again, we're so self-centered.
Yeah.
It's like self, me. As soon as we can direct that thinking outward, we start to change our thoughts. We change that loop. So I like to have little alerts on the phone. Call a friend, text a friend.
Right.
I'm a huge I like to hear
Mm-hmm.
somebody's voice.
Yeah.
So I set up throughout my day little meetings,
Yeah.
just to hear those conversations. Like what's
Mm-hmm.
going on with you in your world, Vicki?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because
Right.
it takes me out of my obsessive thinking.
But we say we don't want it to be about me, but we do want it to be
Yeah,
about you
it's
in
all about
terms
me.
of self-care. You know,
Right?
it's like this double-edged sword. You know, we don't want you to obsess about you, or me, I guess. But we do want you to understand that self-care is not a nicety. It is a necessity.
It's essential.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a must.
Mm-hmm.
And especially as we age, right?
Yeah.
I started this conversation earlier talking
Mm-hmm.
about DNA and how our genetics and how the world is just in overwhelm. We're in crisis mode.
Yeah.
So when we put our self-care as a priority, we're really changing the way that our genetic or our DNA code is going to express itself as we age.
Okay.
And we're not aging backwards. We're aging
Right.
forward, right? Like, yeah.
So it's time now for the rapid fire. This
Okay.
is where I'll give you 5 words or phrases, and you just give whatever comes to the top of your mind, a little short answer. Best advice for overcoming perfection.
Best advice for overcoming perfection. I would pick up a book,
Yeah.
right? Read something.
I always like that because it shows me, one, that other people aren't perfect and they're doing okay.
Yeah.
It's always a good thing to know. It's like you think, oh my God, I'm not like Mary or Sue, but Sally over there is not either, but she's doing okay, fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Parenthood.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Parenthood.
Oh, parenthood, hard.
Mm.
But so worth every single moment.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lots of rewards. Mm-hmm. Mind-body connection.
And joy.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
Yeah.
What is your best family memory?
Oh my God, there's so many.
I know.
I mean, that's hard because I have so many. Pre-COVID, Thanksgiving. We went to a resort and my son didn't want the turkey. They only had turkey. The chef made him have a whole dinner just for himself. It was pretty spectacular. And my son was just like, oh, this is awesome. Yeah, so many. Swimming in the pool.
Yeah.
This last summer with just my son and just being with my nieces and nephew. Just so many. I have so many.
Yeah. And that's good.
Walking the dogs and with my husband every night. Just so many.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what is the next path on your journey?
I think it just goes back to walking towards a better future, creating a better future.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to leave the planet in total disarray, and I feel like it's in it's a state right now. So whatever I can do to help people change the direction of their being to help the planet. Right? To change the thinking, like if, again, I go back to this idea, if everybody were practicing mindfulness, the planet would be a whole lot better.
And I think what that says is there's hope. It isn't that we're saying doom and gloom. We're saying it's just a few things that you need to adjust. And there's hope. There is that great potential for happiness and joy and fulfillment. You just have to let yourself accept that.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, for those of you that are just listening in, this is the time where I remind you, you should have had a pen and pencil along the way. But if you didn't, go grab one right now, because I'm going to share my screen and it will be the contact information for Lane so that you can get further information from her. Okay, here we go. So her website is lanekennedy.com. That's LANEKENNEDY.com. She's on LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram, and Facebook. Just search her name. And she's going to talk to you about a free gift she has for you.
Yeah. So I'm a huge fan of smashing obsessive thinking. And I have a masterclass over at Overcome Obsessive Bad Habits. It's about a 90-minute class where I talk about different tools that you can use to eliminate that thinking.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you want to go to www.overcomeobsessivebadhabits.com. Again, overcomeobsessivebadhabits.com for the free masterclass we all need. So much pleasure to talk with you. You gave us great tips, tools, some things to think about. And as I said, you gave us not doom and gloom, but an area of hope that we will be able to make this world a better place for our kids, my grandkids, to make sure that everything that we didn't learn when we were young, we teach those after us. As I always end, life is a journey, and it is up to you to enjoy the ride. This is Vicki Noethling signing off.
Thank you for tuning into the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast with Vicki Noethling, where we share impactful lessons that help you grow as an individual, grow your confidence, and find the positive and good within you so you powerfully and authentically become the best version of yourself. Remember to visit our website at www.findyourleadershipconfidence.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Find Your Leadership Confidence podcast.